Hello, everyone, and welcome to your Magic the Gathering onboarding. Today's module is going to be about threat assessment and removal. We want to set you up for success playing Commander, and the only way to do that is to onboard you and help you understand what is threat assessment and removal. So, by the end of this course, we want to go over our learning objectives for this module, which is to learn what is removal, what to remove, and when to remove it. All right. By the end of this course, you're going to know how to do all three of those things, as well as learn a fun little acronym. So stick around. What is removal? Removal is defined as the act of removing a game piece from the board state. Now, a game piece is any card that interacts with the game, usually by being on the battlefield or affecting the board in some general way. And removal comes in a few different forms. We have permanent removal, such as exile, destroy, phase out. All of these keywords remove a permanent from play. Then we have spell removal, basically just counter spells. But this means if a spell would go on the stack, before it can resolve, you remove it. All right, very important. Let's go over single target versus board wipe. A single target removal spell is spot removal. So something is coming at you, you can remove it. And it's usually one singular threat, one big threat, the biggest one. You have to make some decisions here to remove what you believe is the most threatening to you. Board wipes, on the other hand, are just blanket removal. It gets rid of all of the sort of creature threats or other type threats, depending on the removal spell in general. But it's blanket removal, and in a perfect world, resets the board, allows you to move quickly, recover, and allows you to put your opponents back if they've had a really good start. Now we're going to go over what to remove. And to do that, we're going to need to identify what are threats. So threats can be defined into two categories: immediate threats, which is in one turn cycle or less, the game is over. These are immediate threats that you need to remove as soon as possible because they can start ending games. Long-term threats are, if they're not removed, is a key part of a player's win condition. So these threats are going to not pose that much of a threat at the moment, but once they get going, building up, having a couple of turns, they will then start to end games. And we want to remove those when we get to that. Now, let's go over an example of identifying a threat. We have the Millennium Calendar. Whenever you untap one or more permanents during your untap step, put that many time counters on the Millennium Calendar. Then for 2 mana, you can tap it and double the number of time counters. And when there are 1,000 or more, you sacrifice it and each opponent loses 1,000 life. Now, is the Millennium Calendar an immediate threat or is it B, a long-term threat? Pause the video right now and answer down below. If you answered B, long-term threat, you would be correct. The Millennium Calendar takes a while to get off the ground. Doubling and doubling and doubling to get to 1,000 time counters can take a good number of turns. So it is a long-term threat. You do not need to immediately destroy it. You have to wait until you get to that point where it's got, 400, 500 time counters on it. Now let's continue with the identifying threats example. We have Yuriko, the Tiger's Shadow. Is Yuriko an immediate threat or a long-term threat? Because whenever a ninja you control deals combat damage to a player, reveal the top card of your library and put that card into your hand. Each opponent loses life equal to that card's mana value. Pause the video now. If you answered an immediate threat, you would be correct. Yuriko decks tend to build incredibly high mana value cards, meaning just a couple of triggers off of Yuriko can absolutely drain the table for 20, 30, even lethal amounts of damage, which makes Yuriko an immediate threat in many game board states. Now let's move on to when to remove a card. So when to use removal. And of course, as we talked about, counterspell counts as removal because it's removing it before it even gets to go onto the battlefield. So we have to go through these questions in our head. Is it an immediate threat? Is it an immediate threat to you? Is it aimed at a different player? And does it disrupt your ability to win? We went over what an immediate threat is, but let's go over a little bit more specific. Immediate threat versus threat to you. An immediate threat is game over. They win and everyone else loses. An example would be Thassa's Oracle. That's an immediate threat. It comes in and it can win the game if it resolves correctly. Then we have a threat to you. Other players may lose, but you are still in the game. So this means that it can come at you and wipe you out, or it can go at another player. They might lose the game, but you're still in the game. So you have to view it sort of like Frodo Sauron's Bane. When this creature deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game if the ring had tempted you. So this is a one-shot card. So if it comes at you, you could die. But if it goes at another player, they could die. So you have to play it a little bit more close to the chest with cards like these, because these are a threat to multiple players, not just to you. So here's a win to remove example. Treebeard Gracious Host. Your opponent has a Treebeard with 20 +1/+1 counters on it. Your opponent declares it as attacking one of your other opponents. Should you cast a removal spell? Assuming this is all the information that you have. Leave it down in the comments down below. All right. The answer is no. Because in this scenario, you have no obligation to try and remove Treebeard. Let your opponent deal with him. Treebeard is going at somebody else, not even towards you. You are not in danger. This is a threat to someone else and not to you. They should start to remove him or deal with him in a way that they see fit. Now, a different example would be if they have that Treebeard, 20 +1 counters, and they declare it as attacking you, and it will be lethal damage. You don't want to just take this damage. You need to remove it. All right. Should you cast a removal spell? Yes. Kind of gave it away a little bit. But in this scenario, you should try and do your best to remove Treebeard. And you want to wait until you for sure have no other option. If you have blockers, if you can politic your way out. But if they are declaring it as attacking you, you can't stop them from doing that. You have to remove the Treebeard. Otherwise, you'll probably lose the game. Okay? You can beg and plead your other opponents to do it, but at the end of the day, it is up to you to remove it when you have no other option to. Now, we need to go over, does this card disrupt your ability to win? So certain cards can prevent you from winning or from playing your deck in an optimal way. If a game piece is preventing you from winning, it may be grounds to remove it. An example would be the Reanimator theme and an opponent's Rest in Peace. Rest in Peace enters the battlefield, exiles all cards from all graveyards, and if a card or token would be put into a graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. This shuts down your entire deck, your entire Reanimator theme, and is a huge threat to you. And you should remove it as soon as possible because you can't win while Rest in Peace is in play. Now, we're going to need to go over some threat assessment in real time because threat assessment is an ongoing equation while you play. You got to keep your mind, what is the biggest threat to you in that moment? What is actively inhibiting you from approaching your win before an opponent can? Now, we have a lovely threat assessment acronym that I came up with that'll help you know what to target with your removal if you don't know what to do. And that is the COC system. The COC system is designed to rank and prioritize threats and what to remove. So C, Commander. It's always a target for removal, and most decks are usually built around having them in play, meaning throwing a removal spell at an opponent's commander usually sets them back pretty far. Of course, it's not the highest threat because they can always pay that extra mana to bring them back in. Then we have an Omen card, a game piece that is the beginning of the end, gearing up for an opponent's win condition. These are fast mana. These are scary artifacts, enchantments that set an opponent up for a win condition, starts getting them going, okay? Which is different from a combo piece. This is a vital piece an opponent needs for their win con. They do not function without this card. Many 2, 3, or 4 card combos need a specific combo piece in place. And if you have the removal available, shut down that combo piece to stop them from reaching their win condition. And finally, we have Kill on Sight. This is a game piece that will win an opponent the game in 1 to 2 turns. You want to make sure that these Kill on Sight cards are well known. Everyone usually knows them. Thassa's Oracle, Shieldred. These are cards that will start to win the game very quickly and should be Kill on Sight. Some of the Narsets, etc. We learned that good removal is vital to winning more Commander games, and the difference between immediate threats and long-term threats, as well as when to remove, such as if it's going to kill you or stop you from winning, and what to remove using the COC system, commanders, omens, combo pieces, and kill on sight. Those are all the main ones that you want to remove as quickly as possible. Now, of course, this is the end of this module. If you want more, leave a like and subscribe. I would appreciate it if you like this video, obviously, and if you subscribe this video. Hope to see you for the next onboarding module. Peace out.